V-G-E-R. Feature. V-O-Y-A-G-E-R. Voyager. Voyager 6.
NASA. National Aeronautics and Space Administration. Jim. This was launched more than 300 years ago.
Voyager series. Designed to collect data and transmit it back to Earth.
Lucifer, the Son of the Morning, Part 4. Adam Rael. Wormwood. Who or what is wormwood? And we are going to delve into that tonight in great depth and detail. So that said, let's get started. We're going to go to Star Trek, the motion picture. In this clip right here that Hollywood is showing you, as I said in the past, words reveal and conceal. And Hollywood loves to put in your face and laugh at our ignorance and hide things in the very words, which, like I've said before, are symbols. Our language is a group of symbols put together that make sounds. And through those sounds and symbols, our very reality is defined. So I've said many times that in these words, there are hidden meanings. They could be anagrams, 2 letters or 1 letter or 3 letters of incomplete words, and they hide an overall greater meaning. So let's see what Hollywood has to say about this.
V-G-E-R. Feature.
So during this movie, there's an ominous cloud, a machine coming to the Earth, and it's a threat, and it's going to come to the Earth and kill all the carbon units, aka human beings on the Earth. And the crew of the Enterprise intercepts this cloud known as Voyager coming to the Earth, this energy field of pure destruction. And Captain Kirk, at the end of the movie, they find this cloud. The name of it is Voyager. The entire movie, the theme of the movie is Voyager. And as Captain Kirk and his crew come to the actual satellite, the heart of this Voyager, of this cloud of pure energy, he discovers a nameplate on the satellite. And what the Hollywood producers are showing you, the fallen angels in the flesh suits are showing you, is this is how they manipulate and control your reality and your perception thereof. Now, Captain Kirk goes up to the Voyager satellite and he sees the placard that has the name on it and scrapes off ash or dust or something that's covering the actual plate. And this is what he finds.
V-O-Y-A-G-E-R. Voyager.
So the entire time, the whole movie, they're trying to intercept Voyager. And the reason I bring this to your attention is because this is how the lying pen of the scribe and the rabbinical mind prison masters that control your reality and the theology that you believe, this is how they control it. They control it through the words. These are symbols. They reveal and conceal. And Hollywood is putting it right in your face. This is 1, 2, 3, 4 letters of an incomplete word. Voyager 6.
Voyager 6.
NASA. National Aeronautics and Space Administration.
And this is the technique that the fallen angels have used to control and manipulate your understanding of God's word. This is a very old trick. I've brought this in many of my shows, and I'm revealing it to you. So that said, let's go to the next slide and give you an example. This is from Hayslip's book, The Two Babylons, if I'm not mistaken. I didn't put the source. But I'm not going to read the entire thing, but I'm just going to give you an example of how they use these anagrams to hide your reality right before your very eyes in the words and the symbols. The Babylonian Ramamu, these are letters of incomplete words, to scream, roar, has its equivalent in the Hebrew ram, to thunder. The two names Adad and Hadad and Raman occur together in the form of Hadad Raman in Zechariah. So right off the bat, we see the word Ra and Am. This is right here, this is two letters of an incomplete word. So if we start and we read the word Ra, so it has an overall meaning. It's the sun. We said that before, son of the morning. And then we have, strangely, two letters here, Ram. Just like I've said before a million times, if you go to the books of Enoch and Enoch's dream vision, it says, and behold, a bull came forth from the earth, and that bull was white. It's also known as the ram. Why ram? Because if, like I said, two letters of an incomplete word, this is Amun. If you add a UN to this, it's Amun Ra, the Hebrew Amun Ra, Heber, which was the great-great-great-great-grandson of Noah through the line of Adam. Adam was the first Israel. He is known as the god of thunder, okay, also known as Thor. And they put it right in your face, like I said, Baal Hadad. Here it is again, ad, two letters of an incomplete word. Instead of completing the word, they just, it's redundant, ad, and here it's breath spirit, had, adad, and they do the same trick here. It's Adam who received the breath spirit, or adam. So instead of this D, if you replace the D with an M, you have Adam. Adam Ra, Amun Ra, the Son of God, Luke 3:38. So that said, let's go to the next slide. This was very interesting to me when I found this. It's called the visual field and sigil of Lucifer. Now, obviously this name Lucifer to me is used, it's a title, like I said before. It's not, this Lucifer is not an individual, and you have to keep that in mind. Lucifer is not an individual. To be a Lucifer only means one who bears the light of Jesus Christ. I am the bright and morning star, the visual field of light. Now, that said, a little side note, are there groups of evil individuals out there that invert everything good into something evil? And the answer to that is, of course, yes. If you take the symbol of the rainbow, look what these demonic sodomite demons have done to that. And originally, in its true form, it was a promise from our Father, never to flood the earth again. And when you get into this word Lucifer, there are groups of individuals that use this as a form of Satan worship. I would recommend anyone to stay far, far away from any type of Satan worship. But they do use this word. There are people like they call them Luciferians, and they have inverted, twisted, warped this word, which is nothing but a title of someone who bears the light, into something pure evil. Because as their father said, I will not bow to Adam. This is Satan. He says, I will not bow to Adam because I am made of fire. He is made of dust. And when he fell, the light, the El was taken from Satnael, Samael, and he was known as Satan, not Lucifer, Satan. The light that he once possessed was taken from him, and he was cast down onto the earth, him and his fallen angels with him. just giving a little background on that, because I'm not promoting anything evil of the sort. What I'm showing you is how evil demons take our words and our symbols, invert them, and they turn them into something good into something evil. So let's get started here on this. So what I'm going to do when I'm reading this, instead of using Jerome's false translation of this title, Lucifer, I'm just going to replace it with the word light. So the sigil of light embodies the profound concept of our consciousness capacity to visually perceive the tangible universe. Lucifer, or light, often referred to as those who bear God's light, holds the symbolic significance in this regard. In terms of bearer, conveys the role of carrying something, not only in a physical sense, but also metaphorically. Etymologically, Lucy, and yes, demons use that for Satan worship. Lucy originates from the Latin, signifies light, while fur translates to bring. Yes, but there's other esoteric meanings of that word as well. In essence, all waves are classified as light waves, acting as conduits for information. These light waves, or light itself, serve as the medium for transmitting information to the brain, where it is processed to form an image of the world around us. Thus, the sigil of light symbolizes the interplay between light, consciousness, and the perpetual experience of physical reality. The external world is truly internal. What we visually perceive is essentially a light wave carrying information, which then gets processed by the brain, the central computer of our nervous system. Depending on the nature of information carried by the light wave that enters our eyes, it can either have a positive or negative effect on our brain, nervous system, and subsequently all of our cells. This is why encountering sensitive visuals like wounds or blood can invoke the sense of darkness, I added that, negative energy within us. It's because everything we see, essentially information being transmitted to the brain and then throughout the rest of our body, influencing our overall state of perception of the world. So this is very interesting. I'm not going to give too much commentary on this. I think it's self-explanatory. But I just wanted to put that early in there that yes, there are individuals that use this symbol as a form of devil worship, and I have nothing to do with that whatsoever. I'm just bringing this to your attention of how they use and twist and contort our symbols and our language into evil things. So that said, I'm going to go back to one of the reformers, John Calvin, and what did he say about Lucifer? Isaiah concludes that the tyrant differs in no respect from other men, though his object was to lead men to believe that he was some god. He's speaking in reference to this title, Lucifer. He employs an elegant metaphor by comparing him to Lucifer. This exposition of the passage, which some have given as if it referred to Satan, has arisen from ignorance. For the context plainly shows that these statements must be understood in reference to the king of the Babylonians. Yet it was an instance of very gross ignorance. Let me repeat that. Yet it was an instance of very gross ignorance to imagine that Lucifer, which is nothing but a title, was the king of devils, and that the prophet gave him this name. But as these inventions have no probability whatsoever, let us pass by them as useless fables. So he was very strong in his opinion, and I think he is saying something very esoteric here. He tells you, he goes, let's pass by them as useless fables. Okay, so he 100% understands that Titus 1:14 is a direct connection to what he's saying here. And what do I mean by that? Let's go ahead and read this real fast. He says, not giving heed to Jewish fables and commandments of men that turn from the truth. So I agree with him 100% that using this title Lucifer to connect him to Satan is an instance of very gross ignorance. Now, those are his words, but I 100% wholeheartedly agree with what he's saying. It is ignorance. But this is the poison of the pulpit. This is taught through the religious dogmas of men. So through religion, these Jewish fables have been passed down to us, and they're the ones that give you the actual meanings or the theology and the understanding of these verses. And it's been taught to us from the time that we first entered the church as young children. And it's programmed into our mind from a young age. And we go about our entire life believing this false interpretation of these verses. And Mr. Calvin got that 100% right. But what he doesn't understand is who this king of Babylon is that they're speaking of. And I think we covered that in depth in the last show that I did. So that said, let's go to the next slide. 2 Peter 1:19. We have also a more sure word of prophecy, whereunto ye do well that ye take heed, as unto a light that shineth in a dark place, until the day dawn and the day star arise in your hearts. Now, let's go here to the Latin to English translation. Pretty much the same thing. And we have the more firm prophetical word, whereunto you do well to attend, as to a light that shineth in a dark place, until the day dawn and the day star arise in your hearts. So if we go to the Latin, Peter tells you, and this was translated from Jerome, he tells you, et Lucifer, Lucifer, day star. So was Peter telling you to worship the devil in this verse and let Satan arise in your hearts, the day star, at Lucifer? That's not what he's telling you at all. But like I said in the past, the meaning of the verse is lost in the translation. And they come up with these titles. The rabbis have come up with these titles to fool you and to hide the meaning of this word Lucifer. And like I said, symbols reveal and conceal. So what is he telling you here? He's telling you, let the light of your Father arise in your hearts. And what does that mean? The law, because God said, I will write my laws into their hearts and into their minds. So what Peter is actually telling you, where he says, until the day dawn and the day star arise in your heart, or Lucifer arise in your hearts, what he's referring to is Hebrews 8:10, which reads, I will make with the house of Israel after those days, saith the Lord, I will put my laws into their minds and write them in their hearts. So I think we can all agree here that Peter was not a Satanist and that this word Lucifer is a made-up title. So that said, let's go to the next slide. Let's go to Revelation chapter 2, verse 28. Jesus is speaking to the church of Thyatira, and he says something in verse 28 that's very interesting. He says, and I will give him the morning star. So if we come to the Latin to English translation, Stalam matutinum. And what does that mean? It means the morning star, Stalam, star, morning. What is the actual meaning of this? It's Lucifer, morning star, day star, Lucifer, Venus, or Jupiter. So what is Jesus telling him here? Is he saying, when he's speaking to the church, is he saying that I'm going to give you Lucifer? I'm going to give you Satan? Because that's what the church tells you. The church tells you that Lucifer is the devil, and that's a hoax. It's a fraud. It's a title. What is he actually telling them? He's saying, the morning star, I will give them the light that emanates from he that sits upon the great white throne, Jesus, Alpha, Omega, Jesus Christ, our Father. And it says, he that have an ear, let him hear what the Spirit saith to the churches. So, in other words, the book of Revelation is written in esoteric levels. And Jesus is telling you that, or John is telling you that right here. He that hath an ear, let him hear. Well, we all have ears, but this is for those with eyes to see and ears to hear. In other words, a deeper level of understanding. You have a low level of understanding given to you by the Judeo-Christian rabbinic mind prison church. And like I said, we've hit the wall and we've never gone past those understandings programmed into our mind as children of what these verses actually mean. So I'm just giving you a brief example of that. And Jesus is telling you here, I will give him the morning star. So is he going to give you the actual sun in the heavens? No, he's talking about light emanation or the white aura that comes from your body, or he's going to let you eat of the tree of light or the tree of everlasting life that comes from the Father of light, he that sits upon the great white throne. So this reference to Lucifer here he is speaking of is a Francis Bacon insertion to hide what the true meaning is from what they call the profane. I don't believe our people are profane. I believe that we all have the ability and understanding to ascend to higher levels if you can unlearn what they have taught you. Or like Yoda said, you must unlearn what you've learned. So that said, let's go to the next slide. So I'm going to give you the Greek to English literal translation. I'm not going to spend too much time, but just to show you how there are subtle changes in the verses. And it says right here, as I had come to take beside of the one or of a father of me, and I shall give unto it the one to a star, to the one to before belong to. So you do not see the name Lucifer in the literal translation of Greek to English. It's not here. It was only inserted by Francis Bacon and crew. And I'm not saying Francis Bacon was evil. I have no idea the reason that they did this, other than what the other texts say, that you're to hide these understandings from the profane. So like I said, people can say, oh, I love God, and they spend no time seeking his face or reading these books. Well, how can you say you love God if you spend no time seeking his face? How do you do that? He left you writings. All over the earth, there are writings of our Father. In fact, he tells the fourth church of the seven churches of Revelations 2 and 3 that those who overcome, I will give him the morning star, meaning he will give them himself. Little misleading there. I just told you what it meant. It meant he will give to them everlasting light of life, which comes from the tree of life. The tree of life is Jesus Christ, the bright and morning star, the very source of all creation of light emanation, Jesus Christ our Father. Peter says, until the day dawns and the morning star rises in your hearts. 2 Peter 1:19. Just went through that earlier. So the morning star or day star is a title, bingo, exactly, that rightfully belongs to Jesus Christ, the Messiah. But Satan, the adversary, is a thief. Satan is an individual, and he's known as an adversary or enemy to the sons of light, the accuser. He and his children are thieves. Everything we have, they've stolen from us. And a robber, and he likes to portray himself as an angel of light. So he stole a title, morning star, for himself. Little misleading, but pretty accurate. I would just add to this, Yes, he stole the title because the L was removed from Satan, Satne El, and when the L was taken, the light was taken. He was devoid of light, and God cast this angel, this fallen angel, known as the adversary, Satan, down onto the earth and put him in a black flesh body. Like I said before, he is the father of the melanated people on the earth, the black Satan. There is no black Jesus, biggest fraud ever. There's a black Satan. And they're thieves, robbers, rapists, murderers, identity shape-shifting frauds. And they're telling you right here that he pretends to be, he portrays himself to be an angel of light. So the actual title of morning star, or the light giver of all creation, the purveyor of all life through light projection, is Jesus Christ, our Messiah of the Adamic white race of Adam. So that said, let's go to the next slide. I thought this, let me minimize the mug here. I thought this was an interesting picture here of King Atlas holding up the world. He was being punished by Zeus. He was called one of the Titans. And in my opinion, I can't prove this, but in my opinion, a lot of mythology has also been changed to hide Adam. Am I saying he's Adam? No, I'm not saying that. But he sure does have a lot of the same traits as Adam. If you look, and like I said, words reveal and conceal. If you take the S away, these are the first four letters, or two letters of an incomplete word, another two letters of an incomplete word. And this is literally the name of Atlantis right in your face. Atum's land right in your face. So if you look at this one word right here, Coelifer Atlas. Coelifer Atlas. I'm not going to get too deep into this. You can look this up and you can find out where this actually came from. But here's another title given to this individual right here, the king of the world, holding the world up, being punished by Zeus. So that said, let's continue. Genesis 11:5. Like I've said in the past, you have to do a side-by-side comparison of biblical text to actually see with your own eyes the alterations that have been made through the years. Now, this is from the Wycliffe 1382, and this is King James 1611, which I think is 229 years in between the Bibles. And the further back you go, in my opinion, the closer to source you get. So if you look right here in the King James, it says, "And the Lord came down to see the city and the tower, which the children of men builded." And you go to the Wycliffe, it says, "The Lord came down to see the city and the tower, which the sons of Adam built." Whoa, 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 what? Is this the man trick again, right before your very eyes? Why would they take Adam's name out? The translators are well aware of the actual Wycliffe Bible when they were translating it over. Why would they take the name Adam out and replace it with men? Was this to universalize the meaning, or was it to hide something? In my opinion, it was to hide something. I'm not going to get too deep into this, but I found this very, very interesting, and I'll leave it to the mind of the viewer. You can come up with your own conclusions. So that said, let's go to the next slide. The Lord went into the place where Levi worked as a dyer. He took 72 pigments and threw them into a vat. When he drew out the result, it was pure white. Jesus said, "This is how the son of Adam," the son becomes the father, and the father became the son. "This is how the son of Adam has come. He is a dyer." So very interesting here. It says that Jesus, when he came to the earth, the Son of Man has come, and he is pure white. He that sits upon the great white throne of the white waters. Continuing, let's go to Albert Pike's work here in the Rig Veda, and let's read this. He says, Varuna, Mitra, Araman, and others are designated as Adityas, or sons Aditi, as the morning star was, Jesus Christ. Pike is telling you about the morning star, and he knows it was Jesus Christ, but he's talking at an esoteric level to those with eyes to see and ears to hear. It says, by those of a different race, styled Lucifer, son of the morning. So very cryptic again, very esoteric, hidden meaning. And Pike is telling you something mind-blowing here. He's telling you that the sons of the morning, the sons of Jesus Christ, who bear the light of Jesus, are a different race of the other people on the earth, and they come from the Father of light. I am the bright and morning star, Jesus Christ, and he is pure white. You can't make this stuff up. It's in the ancient text, and I keep finding it over and over and over. It never stops. We, the white race, are this race of light that came from above. So that said, let's go to the next slide. Halel, Lucifer, Adam. Let's get into this, and we're going to give you the esoteric meaning of this Halel or hallelujah. Hallelujah. The word hallelujah, often used in Christian context, is actually a combination of Hebrew words, Halel and IAH, which means praise Jesus or praise the Lord. To shine, the word Halel or Halel can also be translated as to shine, implying a radiant and luminous praise. All right, let's start here on the bottom, to shine. The word Halel can also be translated as to shine or radiant or luminous. These are all different derivations of light. In other words, fire. Fire produces light, or the sun. And what the translators have actually done is they've come up with these titles to hide the true meaning from you. So they come up with this title, Halel. And like I said, this is another anagram, 2 letters of an incomplete word, and then another 3 letters of an incomplete word. And they hide the overall meaning. And then they translated this to Lucifer. And then they gave the meaning of Lucifer, oh, that's Satan. So it's always smoke and mirrors, misdirection. And it's actually quite cunning what these devils have done. The word hallelujah, often used as in a Christian context, actually a combination of Hebrew words, Halel and IAH, which means praise Jesus or praise the Lord. Okay, well, this word actually does not mean that. This is 1 letter, another hidden anagram. This is 1 letter of an incomplete word, and then 2 letters of another incomplete word. So the AH, as I've said in the past, is breath spirit of Jesus Christ that was breathed into the nostrils of our white father Adam. And the Halel is literally the same thing. And we're going to delve into this actual meaning in a few slides. So that said, let's go to the next slide. The word Halel comes from the Hebrew verb Halel, meaning to shine or to praise. Meaning, in a literal sense, Halel means shining one or morning star, planet Venus, when it appears in the east before sunrise. So one would have to ask themselves, who comes up with the meanings of these words, and who are the individuals behind the translations of the Hebrew? And it's always given to you by the rabbi response team. As I've said in the past, anytime there's a biblical text, scroll, or historical writing of who God's children Israel are, you always get the same rabbi response team, and they come in under the Rockefeller Foundation and UNESCO. And they're the ones that snap these writings up like the Dead Sea Scrolls and the Silver Scroll. And it's always a rabbi or a fallen angel giving you the meaning. Halel means to shine or to praise. Oh, here's the meaning. And by the way, it means the planet Venus. Nothing to see here. Move along. And no one ever questions it. Well, I'm questioning it, and it makes no sense to me. And I'm giving you the actual meaning of it. So that said, while Halel is often associated with the figure of Lucifer, the term itself is not inherently negative. It simply describes a radiant or brilliant entity. Bingo. The association with evil comes from interpretations through the rabbis and the church that they control through the World Council of Churches. The association with evil comes from interpretations of the biblical passage and later Christian theology, where Lucifer is identified with Satan. So this is very accurate in my opinion. Basically, AI is telling you that Satan is often misidentified with the title Lucifer. There is no light in Satan. The L was taken from him, but this title is given to you by these rabbis through the centuries, and this is what our people believe, and we have never ascended to a higher understanding of our books that were given to us from our Father known as the Bible. So that said, let's go to the next slide. And let's give the esoteric meaning of this title given to us by the rabbi response team, known as the Masoretic scribes. So let's give the esoteric meaning of the word Halel. Pretty simple. H-A, breath, spirit of Jesus Christ. Isaiah, Judah, A-H, they had the breath spirit. They have the light of our Father Jesus Christ. They came through the white waters. They came from the white waters of the tree of light, the tree of life from Jesus Christ. If we go to the middle of this word, we have an EL right to left. We start in the middle again, left to right, L. So it literally means Adam received the breath spirit of Jesus Christ. Halel is Adam. Adam is Halel. Right in your face. Plain and simple. And they come up with these titles to hide who our Father was and who we are as a people on the earth. So continuing. Who or what is wormwood? Revelation 8, 7 through 9. The first angel sounded, and there followed hail and fire mingled with blood, and they were cast upon the earth. And the third part of the trees was burned up, and all the green grass was burned up. As the second angel sounded, and as it were a great mountain burning with fire was cast into the sea. And the third part of the sea became blood, and the third part of the creatures which were in the sea and had life died, and the third part of the ships were destroyed. So let's go to Revelation 8, verse 10. And the third angel sounded the trumpet, and a great star fell from heaven, burning as it were a torch, and it fell on the third part of the rivers and upon the fountains of the waters. Here we have that example of the waters again, over and over and over. The waters, the waters. So, side note, verse 11. And the name of the star is called Wormwood, and the third part of the waters became wormwood, and many men died of the waters because they were made bitter. And the actual Latin to English. And the name of the star is called Wormwood. And the third part of the waters became wormwood, and many men died because of the waters, because they were made bitter. So very, very, very interesting Interesting verse here, interesting chapter, I would say. So let's dig into this. Let's start back at 7 through 9. It says, the first angel sounded, and there followed hail and fire mingled with blood, and they were cast upon the earth, and a third part of the tree was burned up. So if we look at the words right off the bat, you're going to find a lot of words indicating past tense or events that happened in the past. Now, there are groups of people saying, no, this is going to happen in the future. No, this happened in the past. So, in other words, you have your preterist and your futuristic or futurist versions of what people perceive. But if you read the book in its context, what it's telling you, let's go through it word for word. It says, the first angel sounded, and there followed hail and fire mingled with blood. And they were, that's past tense, cast upon the earth. And the third part of the trees was, past tense, burned up, and all grass was burned up. And the second angel sounded, and as it were a great mountain burning with fire, was, past tense, cast into the sea. And the third part of the sea became, past tense, blood. And the third part of the creatures which were in the sea and had life died, past tense. And the third part of the ships were, past tense, destroyed. So when you read this, this is some type of cataclysmic event that took place in the past. The words are indicating that I pointed out are past tense or an event that happened in the past. That is not my focus on this. My focus is the esoteric meaning of it when they're talking about hail and fire mingled with blood. This is very interesting. I'm not going to give too much away on this because this would get into the next part of the series, and I don't want to give too much away. But let's go to the next slide and let's examine hail, which we all know what hail is. This is hail. And what do you notice about this hail, this frozen water here that comes from the heavens? And the first thing that stands out is the hail is white. Oh, now that we know the color of this hail, how do you mix hail with fire and with blood? So fire would automatically melt the hail back into water. And then how does it get mixed with blood? Whose blood? What blood? This is a very esoteric meaning. They're hiding something from you. And it says, and they were, past tense, they were cast upon the earth. So the hail and fire, and it was mixed with blood. And this is referring to a group of individuals. They were cast upon the earth. And the third part of the trees was burned up. Well, this is fire mingled with hail, so water and fire. These are the fundamental building blocks of creation: fire, water, and blood. And the blood is the living force of all beings, of all living beings upon the earth. Do not drink the blood, you know the verse. But this is very interesting here. In other words, this is an esoteric hidden meaning. And it says that these people, these individuals, were cast upon the earth, and it refers to them as hail. In other words, the hail and the fire, this is light and fire, and this was cast upon the earth. These are individuals, the hail. The esoteric meaning is that these are people, these are white race people who came through the white waters, and it was mingled with blood. O Adam, do not mix your holy, righteous seed, your holy, righteous white water DNA with the sons and daughters of Cain. Do not eat of the tree of evil. Do not mix the tree of good, of whiteness, of righteousness with the black tree of Cain, of Satan. If you do, you will surely die. So, this hail and fire that Revelation is speaking of is a group of individuals that were thrown upon the earth. They were cast out. Very interesting. So let's go to the third angel. It says, and the third angel sounded the trumpet, and a great star fell from heaven, burning as it were a torch, and it fell upon the third part of the rivers and upon the fountains of waters. So there are some that will tell you this is planet X and it's coming to get us and it's going to hit the water and your water is going to be poisoned and oh, we're all going to die. And when I hear that, I can't help but laugh, not being arrogant, but that has nothing to do with this meaning, nothing whatsoever. So if we go to this verse and break it down again, it says, and a great star fell. It doesn't say a great star will fall. It says a great star fell, past tense, from heaven. It already happened, burning as it were a torch. So here we have the fire of the white light projection of the white race, and they fell from the heavens because Adam mixed his DNA with the black tree of evil, the white waters merging with the black waters, and creating an unassimilatable group of demons of triple S people that are still on the earth today. And this is telling you that the star, this is a star. So an actual star, a burning orb of bright light fell on the earth. No metaphor. This is metaphor, low-level metaphor. You get rid of the S, and this is T-A-R, Tartaria, Atum, Ra, Ra, Atum. Atum, Ra, Atum, one letter of an incomplete word, fell from heaven. He was thrown out, found unworthy. And they're telling you that this is planet X or this is something coming in the future. All you have to do is look at the words. Fell, past tense, the third part of the rivers and upon the fountain of the waters. Very interesting here. This word right here. Remember this. Fountains of waters. Not going to go too deep into that, but stay tuned for the next part, and I guarantee you, you will be blown away when you see the meaning of this. So let's go to verse 11. And the name of the star is called Wormwood. So I don't know everything or every historical event or cataclysmic event that has ever happened on the earth, but I don't know of a star or any written record of a star that has crashed into the earth. And I think there'd be no earth if that happened. So that said, continuing, and the third part of the waters became, past tense, wormwood. And many men died, past tense, of the waters because they were made bitter. And then let's go to the Latin to English. And the name of the star is called Wormwood. And a third part of the waters became wormwood, and many men died of the waters because they were made bitter. So what are they telling? Let's go back to verse 8 right here. It's telling you that a star, in other words, Atum Ra, fell from heaven, burning as a torch. So continuing, let's break down who this star actually is. that they're speaking of here in the book of Revelations. And to understand the book of Revelations, you have to understand the Old Testament. So the book of Revelations here in the King James Version is telling you a great star fell from heaven. So there is no record of an actual sun or a star crashing into the earth that would obliterate the earth and all life upon it. So this is metaphor, hidden metaphor once more, as I pointed out earlier. And to understand this verse, we have to go back to Isaiah 14:12. Let's read it. How art thou fallen from heaven? Now let's go here. And a great star fell from heaven. Back to Isaiah. How art thou fallen from heaven, O Lucifer, or O bearer of the light, or Adrael, Adam Rael, son of the morning, son of Jesus Christ. How thou art cut down to the ground, which didst weaken the nations. So let's go back to Revelation. And it said, the star fell from heaven, burning as it were a torch. And it fell on the third part of the rivers and upon the fountains of the waters. Let's go here to 11. And it says, and many men died, that's past tense, of the waters because they were made bitter. So what exactly is John telling you here in the book of Revelation in verse 10 and 11? It says, I don't mean to be redundant, but just follow along. And it says, and the waters became wormwood, and many men died of the waters because they were made bitter. Well, let's go to Romans 5, verse 14. Nevertheless, death reigned from Adam to Moses, or as I've said in the past, from Adam until Jesus Christ came back, even over them that had not sinned after the similitude of Adam's transgression, who is the figure of him that was to come, the second Adam. So the many men that died of the waters, the men are of the white waters, the white waters, and men died of. So these two are connected. It's metaphor. Waters are literally the light projection, the physical manifestation of the white hail or the white light sons of Adam that came from he that sits upon the great white throne, Jesus Christ, our Father. And the men that died are from Adam, and to Jesus came on the earth to free them from hell. This is exactly what they are telling you in the book of Revelations here. It's not that planet X crashes into the earth in the future. That is a fraud and a hoax. And the whole Nibiru thing is a fraud and a hoax brought to you by another rabbi response team member, Stitchin, who was a CIA asset and a fraud and one of the usual suspects. So I don't believe anything of the fables of these phony frauds. And if you actually look into this and you understand what the higher meanings or the definitions of the meanings are at a higher level, you will understand that wormwood is an invention, a literal invention, just like at the beginning of the show, V'ger. This is an incomplete word. And what they've done here when I show you is beyond belief. But through one letter, this letter right here, this W, they've changed the entire meaning of it and created this word and attached it just like they did the word Lucifer, and they attached it to the devil, when in reality, Lucifer is nothing but a title, and it means one who bears the white light of Jesus Christ, their Father. All the white race children on the earth of pure white race genetics will have a white light that emanates from their temples. It is within you. What's in you is greater than the flesh. Jesus told you that. And wormwood is another rabbinic mind prison invention. So let's go to the next slide. Let's go to Isaiah 14, 10 and 11. And they shall speak and say unto thee, Art thou also become weak as we? Art thou become like unto us? Thy pomp is brought down to the grave, and the noise of the vials. The worm is spread under thee, and the worms cover thee. So this is your King James. Now let's go from Latin to English version, and let's read this same verse here. It says, Thy pride is brought down to hell. Thy carcass, doesn't say carcass in the King James, so a subtraction here in the King James. Thy carcass, thy dead body, is fallen down. Under thee shall the moth be strewed, and worms shall be thy covering. So, very interesting. Worms, covered with worms, carcass. There is no body here. There's no carcass in the King James. So anyone that says this book hasn't been altered is just uninformed and they haven't done their homework. So what does this actually mean? What is the meaning? Why would they take carcass out of this? Why would they take dead body out of this? Because they're hiding someone. They're hiding something from you. Worms shall be thy covering. And this refers to the king of Babylon. Who was this king of Babylon? Could this king of Babylon have been Adam? In my opinion, 100%. The evidence suggests that. The world was made for Adam. Babylon was nothing but another worldwide state of Adrael, of Atlantis, Atum's land, Adam's land. Adam ruled the world. It was given to Adam. So this worms and this body, this carcass that is fallen down, they're talking about the king of Babylon. And then the Bible translates, oh no, it's Nimrod. They're blending stories. They're mixing things. They're mixing stories. And when you read the Bible, you're reading their narrative. They've hidden things from you. Whether you choose to believe it, whether you reject what I'm saying, that's up to you. That said, let's go to the next slide. Who or what is wormwood? And I've read this in the past, and I'm going to read it again because this is powerful, and this is going to explain to you exactly who wormwood is. If we go to the Testament of Adam, it says, they're speaking of, this is Adam speaking to Seth. He says, he will put on my skin, Jesus Christ the Father. Yes, Jesus is the Father, a ray of his light. He is the Father in flesh. Jesus is Gouda, the creator, the Father of the white waters. He will put on my skin, and he will be born like the birth of man by a force and direction that none can understand but himself and those to whom he reveals it. He will run with the children, boys and girls of that period. He will do wonders and signs openly. He will walk on the waves of the sea as if walking on dry land. He will rebuke the winds in a manifest way, and they will be led by his command. He will call to the waves of the sea, and they will answer him obediently. At his command, the blind shall see, the lepers shall be cleansed, the deaf shall hear, the dumb shall speak, the deformed shall be straightened, the lame shall spring up, the palsied shall rise and walk. Many rebels shall be led to God. Those who have wandered shall be led aright, and devils shall be driven away. When the Lord comforted me with this, he said to me, O Adam, grieve not, for thou art a God. Let me repeat that. O Adam, grieve not, for you are a God. He was the Son of God, therefore Adam was a God. Grieve not, for thou art a God. as thou thoughtest to become by thy transgression of my commandment. I thought Adam ate an apple. No, he tried to overthrow the Father. He joined Satan in a seditious plot to overthrow his own Father. The ultimate act of betrayal. This is what Adam did. And this act was overcome by pure love of our Father. Jesus Christ, our Father, is pure love because only someone with pure goodness, pure love, pure light could forgive something so treacherous of an act against his own Father. The ultimate betrayal. So continuing, grieve not, for thou art a God, as thou thoughtest to become by thy transgression of my commandment, and I will make thee a God. Not at this time, but after the lapse of years, 5,500 years. Jesus said to me also, I have verily brought thee out of the land of paradise to the land which brings forth thorns and briars, that thou mayest inhabit it. To the earth he was put in a flesh body. I will bend thy loins and make thy knees tremble from age and senility. O thou dust, O thou Adam, to death I will deliver thee. O Adam, if you mix of the tree of darkness of evil, you will surely die. O thou Adam, to death I will deliver thee. Now pay attention to this very close. And thy body I will make to be food for maggots, and the fodder food of the worm. After 5 days and a half of my days, I will have pity on thee in my mercy. Whoa, whoa, whoa. So hold on a second. So the Father is telling, Jesus Christ is telling his son Adam, oh, thou dust. Adam, you will return to the dust. You will surely die. You will return to the dust. To death I will deliver thee, and thy body I will make it to be food for maggots. And food, fodder, is food of the worm. So let's go forward. What do worms do? Why would he use that word worm? You're going to be worm fodder for the worm? Worms, particularly earthworms, do eat buried carcasses. Let me go back. We read here from the Latin to English translation, which they left out of the King James Version. They don't have to alter the whole things. Small, subtle changes. They change the entire meaning. And the actual definition or understanding of the verse is lost in the translation. Carcass. Your carcass is fallen down. So here's the word carcass. Adam, wormwood, worm food. So right off the bat, if you look at this word, they changed one letter right in your face, wood, and the meaning of wormwood. Oh, it's bitter. I understand the meaning of that. But I'm telling you what the translators have done. They took this one letter right here, subtle alteration, and they changed it, the F to a W. And now Adam, his name is now Wormwood, and they hide his name through this invention. And they created this word wormwood to hide Adam's identity. So it says worms, particularly earthworms, do eat buried carcasses of dead animals. They are important decomposers and detritivores, meaning they consume dead organic matter and break it down, recycling nutrients back into the soil. Earthworms ingest decaying animal remains along with soil and other organic material, and their digestive process help further break down the carcass. So Adam is returned back to the dust, the body of Adam, back to dust from his fall, and they hid it just from changing one letter. Worm food, wormwood, no Adam. That's exactly how they've done it. That's how Satan's children, these fallen angel demons, work right in your face. So let's go to the next slide. The esoteric meaning of wormwood. The term wormwood appears 9 times in the Bible. 7 of those instances are in the Old Testament, and 2 are in the New Testament, specifically in Revelations 8:11. The Hebrew word for wormwood is la ana, while the Greek word used in Revelation is absinthos. In both languages, the term signifies bitterness and is often associated with negative consequences or judgment. O Adam, if you eat of the tree, don't mix the righteous white water seed with the black demon Satan. Not Lucifer, Satan. So here we have another word play, another word scramble title given to you by the rabbi response team. Those who call themselves Judah but do lie, they're not Judah. They're fallen angels in the flesh, and they have invented these titles to hide you. If you say anything about them, they tell you you're an anti-Semite. Yea, how can you be anti yourself? Ham, Shem, and Japheth were all white men. They were Aryans. They were not of these ilk, of these fallen angel demons. What is the esoteric meaning of wormwood and this word given to us by the rabbi? What is it? Let's go to the next slide. So wormwood and its hidden meaning, Hebrew. Wormwood in Hebrew is la an ah. So if we break the word down, split it down the middle from the first 2 letters, El, Al, El, An, Ah. So if we add the word mu, right to left, to A-N, it's Anum, Ah, breath spirit of Jesus Christ. Wormwood is Adam, hidden through anagrams and wordplay. And one would have to ask herself, is it that hard to believe that Adam's name has been hidden in the Bible in so many places? What does the Bible tell you itself? Genesis 5:1. This is the book of the generations of Adam. It doesn't say this is the book of the generations of Jacob. It says this is the book of the generations of Adam. In the day that God created Adam, in his likeness of God made he him. Adam is the son of Jesus Christ, of God. So is it that hard to believe that this book is about Adam and his descendants? And I would say no to that. I'll leave that to the mind of the viewer. So that's going to do it for tonight. I'd like to give a shout out to a dear friend of mine, Marco, and his wife, Gina. I've known them since I was 14, 15 years old, and they always support my work. Thank you for that. And thank you for everyone that watches the show. I hope you got something out of this, and may Jesus bless, and good night.